This is a review of the children's book Little Flame by Jenni Ward, part 1 of the Dragon Village series. According to Amazon, it is intended for child readers aged 5 to 7, but Ms. Ward's website says it is intended for readers aged 6 to 9. It is a short, chaptered book. Ms. Ward recommends that readers obtain and use the paperback version of the book as it has illustrations. I have the ebook version, and the only art it has is the front cover. If I were to rate the formatting of the book on its own, I would not be able to give the ebook version a rating above 2 stars. This is because even chaptered books have small illustrations in them, sometimes at the opening or close of the chapter, when intended for readers in this age range to help stoke their imaginations. This might not be an issue if the environment were described a bit more thoroughly or if the characters were physically described more completely. For example, the moon dragon, Nightbeam, is described physically to some extent, and then he tells us that his wings allow him to fly higher than other dragons, that they're special. But other than them being big, which to a child everything is big, and colorful, we aren't given a reason as to why that's so. We aren't really given a scale for the size of the wings either. Are they large enough to fill Little Flame's home when they're spread? There's some indication from the parents that his age may be a factor for why he can fly higher, but it's not definitive. And since there's no art, I'm not certain if it's just an increased wingspan or if there's something more aerodynamic about the shape that allows for greater lift. I almost feel as though there was an opportunity missed here to work in a bit of basic physics that might have piqued a child's curiosity. My biggest concern with the story, though, is the use of fire. Every time we see fire, we're in the forest. Fiery burns a leaf at the beginning of the story. Ember, a branch. Little Flame's father, Blaze, sits on the rock in the center of the village, located in the forest, and lights up the sky in a fire show. Then, when Little Flame fights against the dark fog, he's in the center of a forest that had been sealed off with magic and simply lets fire fly. Over and over and over again. Little Flame and Nightbeam do face off against the dark fog in a bog, but there is specific mention of Little Flame targeting tree knots. Rocks too, which are a surface that can be scorched and glanced over, but if covered in detritus, the surface can burn just as much as any other. I don't want to give away the climax of the story, as it may be a surprise for younger readers, though parents should certainly see it coming. I will say, though, that one of the messages that comes through in the story is a lack of consequences. Ignoring that the forests don't suffer from fire being allowed to roam free within them, there's the fact that Little Flame disappears on his parents. Twice. He gets a wings on hips lecture from his mother, Warmth, but otherwise, there are no repercussions for leaving without telling anyone where he was going or for staying out all night. The parents here are depicted in a far less anthropomorphic manner than what I've become accustomed to for children's stories starring animals or mythical creatures. Not only does Little Flame face no repercussions, but they're perfectly okay with him spending time with an older adult whom they haven't met when Little Flame asks to go out, promising to be home by nightfall but not coming back until the next day. I'm not advocating for every story teaching the exact same lessons. We'd never learn anything that way and just inculcate a generation of rebels for whatever those lessons might be. I do, however, think that there should be a greater depiction of concern, something to indicate to children that this behavior is not normal and not something to be aspired to. I know Ms. Ward stated on the Goodreads page for this book that she intended it to be a story showing that it's okay to learn at a different pace than others, and that we can learn things from different teachers. that really isn't the message that struck me the most from my reading of this entry in the series. Maybe that will become more evident in the next adventure. It hasn't been released yet, though it is listed on Ms. Ward's website as scheduled for 2024. And maybe your opinion will differ when you read it. Maybe your little one will enjoy the tale. Please see this video's description for links to public domain photography sources used. And thank you for listening, and have a good day.